Hi, my name is Saif. I'm a first year medical student at the University of Sunderland, about to go into my second year. In this video I thought I'd compare my first year doing medicine with my first year having done biochemistry and sort of compare not only what the teaching styles are but also what it was like to experience both. So firstly we'll talk about the types of teaching. With both degrees we get assessed in lectures, workshops and labs. With medicine we also have things such as anatomy and clinical sessions, in addition to communication skills and placement. With both degrees, I found the contact hours quite hefty, especially with biochemistry, constantly hammered with biology and chemistry lectures, with sometimes both of them being scheduled at the same time, which obviously wasn't ideal because we then have to go back to recording to watch the subject's lectures. But one thing I do like about medicine in that respect is that everything's a lot more structured, because while doing biochemistry for the first year was like doing two different degrees, doing medicine obviously is its own sort of accredited thing. With both degrees, pretty much every day you're in 9 to 5. Most of your time in biochemistry was taken up by lectures with like labs in the evenings. With medicine it's kind of quite split, where we'd have lectures stringing throughout the weeks, but we'd also have things such as PBL, communication skills, PBL wrap-ups, clinical skills and so on. And we'd also have anatomy as well. In terms of modules that we were taught for biochemistry in the first year, our biology modules were molecules of life, cell structure and function, genetics, biotechnology and protein biochemistry. We also had microbes, immunology and infection, and skills in BLS, which is biological and life sciences. The chemistry modules that we were given were atoms and molecules, organic structure, organic reactivity, coordination chemistry, spectroscopy and analytical chemistry, thermodynamics, and chemical reaction kinetics. And of course both biology and chemistry were sort of separated from each other, so the people that we'd have in each lecture were different. Whereas of course on the medicine course you pretty much have everyone in your lectures, though you do have your own little groupings as well. For medicine, our units were orientation, health and disease, immunology and infection, emergencies, life course, brain and mind, health and reproduction, and then we also had life course as well. And there was quite a bit of overlap between these two degrees in that we did things such as like cancer cell biology, cell signalling, and things such as immunology and infection, whereas things like health and reproduction we hadn't done before. But I guess that's because my degree was more biochemistry rather than biomedical science, whereas I imagine there's more overlap if I had done biomedical science. Both degrees varied in terms of assessments. With the biochemistry degree we had summer exams only, but we did have coursebooks strung along the year. With the assessments in biochemistry we had it split between like biology A, biology B and chemistry, where we'd pretty much sit each exam back to front, and it wasn't ideal because it lasted like 4 or 5 hours. But it got them all done, I guess. In terms of medicine, things were a bit better in that we had a January exam and then we had 2 written papers in summer. But in addition to written exams, we also had something called OSCEs, which were objective structured clinical examinations. We had that as well. And we also had an e-portfolio, a literature review under like a domain called skills, where we also had an SSC, which was a student selected component. And the proportions in assessment here were 60% for the knowledge domain, which was the exams, 30% for the OSCEs, and 10% for the SSC, which was the literature review and the presentation. With biochemistry, on the other hand, everything was sort of equally weighted against each other. In terms of what was more difficult than the other, it's hard to say. The biology that I did in biochemistry was very similar to the biology I'm doing now in medicine, except with medicine we do a lot more anatomy, whereas everything in biochemistry was a lot more sort of cell-based. And like biology during my biochemistry degree, I feel like the medicine content is very much you need to learn the content, understand it and then apply it. With chemistry I feel like that was slightly harder to do because of course you had to understand the process rather than like information. Doing chemistry made biochemistry harder because it's like I was doing 2 different things. Whereas with medicine everything's more sort of tied together. But of course all of this is just my opinion, someone else's experience doing both degrees, especially at like different universities with different in mind. I have really enjoyed doing biochemistry and I'm actually enjoying doing medicine as well. And having done biochemistry I feel like it's helped a bit as well. But this video was a quick summary of my first year as a medical student and in comparison to my first year as a biochemistry student. If you have any questions on either degree, just comment below.